You know what it is? It's the Sports Counterpoints podcast. Today is September the 3rd, 2025. Looking to be alive, feeling good out here. It's Super Bowl. We're talking about NFL season. That's how hyped I am on football right now. I'm already at the Super Bowl. I'm juiced, man. Be back to it. So we're gonna run through all the divisions, get Coop and Brian's predictions on how they think the division will stack, worst to first, first to worst. You feel me? I'll have a couple little tidbits on there, you know what I mean? And we're gonna rock with it. So let's get to it, man. I'm here on scene with Brian in Southern Cal, and we've got Coop in South Central Haywood. Right so we get into it, man.
We're gonna see Jason in just a couple days.
Yeah, man.
We all get together there. I love being with you guys, man. Seriously,
man, it's gonna be fun, bro.
I love this weekend. Yeah,
looking forward all the games. Shout out Mom and Lil coming out, watching all the games with all the family. It's going up. So, man, let's get to it. First and foremost, I've been asking y'all a question each show, and I wanted to ask y'all this time, what moment are you most excited for? A game, a matchup, seeing somebody do something as far as the NFL season is concerned?
Well, I think excited might be a strong sentiment, but I'm very interested in seeing what happens with the Vikings, especially with JJ McCarthy. I mean, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but off the top, you're going to hear this will be repetition. There's a lot of things to like about what the Vikings did with their offseason, and there's one thing to be very interested in to see the results of the experiment, and that's JJ McCarthy versus Sam Darnold. And so I am most excited to see what that looks like in real life. The worst part of that is I got to wait till Monday to do it. So y'all are going to be here. We're going to be watching. This will be I think the first weekend I can remember.
Yeah, Monday night,
where I have the Monday night game, and we're going to be sitting there Sunday, and I will not be watching. I will be watching all the football, but I won't be watching my team with all of y'all. We've had nights where you all had the Raiders had you played Thursday. We've had 49ers play Thursday and for a Sunday night game, right? We've had all those. The Vikings have always had a game kind of normal at 10 a.m. Yeah. This will be the first time. So, but I'm most excited to get back to football. Hopefully spending a few weekends with all you and just watching games and hanging out.
Back to it. Yes, sir. Cool. What about you?
Besides seeing who gets hurt next with the 49ers, I am looking forward to watching the Chicago Bears. And the reason why is because their coach, Ben Johnson, he keeps pumping up his backup quarterback named Tyson Badgett. They signed him to a $5 million a year contract, which is a lot for a backup. He really likes this dude. Talks about how he gets the ball out and stuff like that. Yeah. And so the thing is, the reason why I'm interested is because I don't think Caleb has all year to try to figure it out. I don't think his leash is going to be very long. As soon as he can't run his offense, I mean, Ben Johnson's already kind of been pissed off at him. He told him he holds the ball too long. He needs to work on throwing to his left, I believe, because he doesn't do that well, and some other things. And I just don't think he's going to have the patience. And when you run a timing-based offense like he does,
not his quarterback. Damn.
Yeah, when you run a timing-based offense like Kevin O'Connell, like him, like McVay, like Shanahan, Stefanski, they want the ball out quick. They don't want you holding the ball long. They call a good play. They want you to get rid of the ball. So I'm interested to see how this, if Caleb, he might get benched. I mean, it's a possibility, and they might put Tyson Badgett in the game, who he really keeps pumping up and really likes. So the Bears are interesting to me. New coach, other new players, Caleb. So it'll be interesting. That's the most interesting division, to be honest with you, in NFC North. And I know we'll talk about that later. It's very interesting division. But that's what I'm looking forward to, seeing the Bears.
For me, Raiders Chiefs right now. We're going to KC after homecoming out there. That's going to be live, man. Like actually being in rival territory like that, going with my brother Day. And then some people, my manager, some people.
That's right. Yeah, you're going to that game.
So yeah, I'm excited, man. Like awesome to be in that game after homecoming in ATL. So yeah, that's like the biggest, most exciting moment I'm looking forward to. But the whole season, man, it's football season. I love to see what the Raiders are going to do week to week. Will we get better? We got Carroll, we got Gino, we got Ashton. Defensive guys, some unproven, a lot of old school vets. Like I'm juiced to see it. So it's just football, man. We love it all. So with that, man, let's get to it. Let's run it down. So we're starting with the AFC East, and that's the Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins, the New England Patriots, and the New York Jets. If you weren't up on game, and within that division, who do y'all think? Where do they rank? And Coop, you start on this one.
All right, okay. Last, I'll take the Miami Dolphins. I just don't like them this year. Coaches are laughing stock. Players don't respect them. People.
Would you bet on that, Coop?
I sure did. Put another Another bet when I was in Reno. Sure did. Under 7.5 wins. They're one concussion away from Zach Wilson starting at quarterback. It's just not good. Last playoff win back in the year 2000. Deep, they don't have good players. Corners are not good. I mean, they need like a Pete Carroll type of person, somebody that has some accountability and respect of players. They don't have that, so I just think it's going to be a very bad season for Miami. They'll come in last. Third place, I got the Jets. As long as you have Justin Fields, your quarterback, I really can't take you seriously as a team. You're always going to have offensive limitations. I think I read a stat that when opposing team scores 21 points or more, Justin Fields is 0-22 in those games. He just doesn't put up a lot of points. But I do like Aaron Glenn, though. I think that he's going to get this team to play hard, and they'll lose a lot of close games because their offense is just going to be awful. They're expecting Justin Wins to lead them to 9 wins or something this year. He's never led a team to 8 wins in the season. So people are just delusional about this guy. He really can't throw or play a quarterback in the NFL, but I got them being in third place. In second place, I'm not really a big New England fan. I'm the people who said that,
Someone has to be second,
exactly. They have a really easy schedule too. People say Gerard Mayo got a raw deal. I don't think people actually watched any Patriot games. Unfortunately, I did. He was the coach in waiting for the last 4 years, and when he got his shot, he was horrendous. They were unwatchable. They looked like they didn't even practice. They're going to have to play like the Chargers, though. They're going to have to try to run the ball and play defense to shorten the games, because I have a hard time believing Stephon Diggs coming off an injury, ACL injury, I believe, is going to want to, is going to have this big impact that people think. I don't think that. I think they're a little suspect offensively, including their offensive line. But I do like that Trayvon Henderson guy that they got, because they had a lot of fumbling problems last year with New England. So I got them coming in second. They got the second easiest schedule. That's why. And then first, no surprise, is Buffalo. Their Achilles heels is their pass defense, and they had third down struggles last year. But the only question for this team is the same as the Baltimore Ravens. Can they beat the Chiefs in the postseason? They're 0-4 against Mahomes in the postseason. And in order to get to Super Bowl, you got to get through them. So that's how I got this division shaken out.
B? All right, B, what you got?
So very different. I've got the Patriots at the bottom. I just don't think they've made enough strides to be competitive in football at this point in time. They've got a lot of questions. I do like Trayvon Henderson as well, and I do think that they're going to slowly start to get a little bit better, but I don't think they're anywhere near where they need to be. After that, I got going upwards, I got the Jets. I agree with you. I don't think they're very good, but someone has to be the next team from the bottom. And I think this team has way more questions than they do answers. I think Justin Fields is clearly, it's just kind of a stopgap solution. And I don't know that necessarily works. That being said, I do think they can be an exciting team to watch lose by a little bit. I think you mentioned the same thing where you can see them losing some games, losing some close games. I can see that happening. I just think that they're going to be on the wrong side of that more often than not, and therefore they're going to be second from the bottom. After that, I got the Miami Dolphins. I'm not saying they're going to be great, but I do think they're going to be better than the Patriots and the Jets. I also think they have a lot of talent when Tua is healthy. When Tua has been healthy and they're playing at their best, they have shown some gleams of light and being, really strong. You're 100% right that they're one concussion away from going the other direction. But if I'm going to base it off of what the talent on the team is, where the rest of the different teams, and what I know right now, which is they're healthy and able to play, I think they're the second best team there. We'll talk about whether or not I think they make the playoffs. I think it's dicey. But obviously Buffalo's at the top. I think Josh Allen is coming in, off of an MVP season. I don't think he cares about the MVP this year. It's not a lot of time where the MVP ends up winning the Super Bowl. So he had that working against him. I think this year they have a good defense that's predicted to be in the top 3 of defenses for runs for scoring. They've got Josh Allen. They've got some talent in different places. James Cook had an unexpectedly great season. It would be really interesting to me to see if he can actually get back to double-digit touchdowns again. If he fell off, I would not be surprised. If you look at the last 3 seasons, I believe it was like 6 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns, and then 12 touchdowns. The outlier suggests that it's the one with the more touchdowns. But I do think that that Josh Allen and company will be the cream of the crop from the AFC East. We'll be talking more about this division going on. I think I understand what you did there with the Dolphins. I don't think they're going to fall off that much. I actually think there's some upside to the point where they could be a last team in the playoffs, and they could easily be at the bottom where you put them. But I have them second.
All right. So it's interesting looking at how they have it set up here because they got the Bills, the Dolphins, Patriots, Jets. It's kind of close, and then looking at the other.
They just hit an alphabetical order.
I think it's alphabetical order, right?
Yeah,
right.
It's interesting the lineup, but anyway, they got from there you got
AFC North.
AFC North. So the Bengals, the Browns, the Steelers, and the Ravens. How they shake out?
That's brief. Right. Go ahead.
So the easy one here is the Browns. They're going to be at the bottom. That team's just, they've got so much talent, but there's nothing that suggests that any part of that's going to be cohesive this year, in my opinion. Okay. I think they added themselves a distraction by keeping 4 quarterbacks and one of them being Sanders. All the coach is going to have to do is deal with all the media hype around him. Is he getting a fair shake? Why isn't he getting a fair shake? Is Dylan Gabriel really better? Is Shedeur being, kept down because of his dad's name? All this other garbage. Teams don't win when they've got so many subplots, especially for third string quarterbacks who are even lucky to have made the team. So that's enough to be said about the team that's going to be at the bottom. After that, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're actually projected to have a really great defense. Another one of the ones that is supposed to be top 3 on points allowed. I don't think they're good enough to do much. They've got too many questions at quarterback and on offense. They've got a lot of things going on there. I have them third. I always root for Mike Tomlin. The problem is that Mike Tomlin has consistently been good enough to be right in the middle, be in the playoff conversation, but never definitively in the playoffs or out of the playoffs any given year. But I still root for Mike Tomlin. Next, and I think these two are the next. These two are the real conversation here. Next, I got the Bengals. So I got the Bengals coming in second. Joe Burrow is a stud. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are studs. Chase Brown is a stud. I absolutely understand that there is a lot of weapons on offense here, but they need to hit on all cylinders every single week in order to win games because their defense is horrible. When you've got one of the best defensive players in Hendrickson on your team and you still can't put anything together to stop anything going on against you, that's problematic. But I think that's the differentiator between them and Baltimore, which I'll talk about in a moment. Ultimately, I got the Ravens in second. The Bengals in first. I'll say it one more time. Right. Bengals in second, Ravens in first. And that's simply because the defense just isn't going to pass the test. First, I got the Ravens. Every year, I like to say that the Ravens are going to be better than they were the year before. I think that's true this year. They've got a lot on offense. They've got a very strong defense. They've got talent in all the right places. I think this should be their year. If they can't do something, independent of injuries, obviously, if they can't do something with this team, with this momentum, with the things that have been going on around the organization, maybe next year you'll finally see me sell on them instead of buy. But I think the Baltimore Ravens I'm going to put it out there right now. I think they're probably the AFC Super Bowl representatives as I see it, at least right now. So I got them in first. Jason, what about you?
Yeah. I think they're favored ahead of both of them. Buffalo and Baltimore are favored.
They are the betting favorite this year, which is a nice change.
It's not really going to be any difference in this division, Brian. We got it the same way.
Okay, cool.
I got last place. I got Cleveland. They averaged 14 points a game last year, which is dead last in NFL, and they passed 69% of the time because they were behind all the time, which is really bad. They didn't have a quarterback last year, and they don't have one this year. When Shador Sanders starts taking unnecessary sacks, doesn't play on time, doesn't get the ball out, you guys remember where you heard it from. All the quarterbacks on this team are going to play this season. Dylan Gabriel and then Joe Flacco and whoever else they got. Unfortunately, though, the sad part is we're talking about a lot about the Browns, which is rare to talk about so much about a team that's so bad. But
does Deshaun Watson play? You said they kept 4, and Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson's on the roster. You're right, but they don't want him around the facility. So right, he's not going to play. He's not playing that thing. You're right.
I was just curious, how deep are we going?
You're absolutely correct. But yeah, this franchise doesn't know what it's doing. It's paying Myles Garrett, and they're only going to win about maybe 3 or 4 games this season, which is pretty dumb. So I got them in last. Pittsburgh, this mediocre franchise, they just won't hit the reset button. They still can't run the ball. They got a quarterback over 40. Who went from one cold weather city where he didn't play well to an even colder city. They got Jalen Ramsey, but he's past his prime. Cam Hayward, he's getting older by the year. It's the same old mediocre Steelers, same bland coaching staff. They have trouble running the ball in the training camp. They had trouble running the ball in preseason. So, and that's something they need to do when you have a quarterback over 40. You got to be able to run the ball. They can't do it. So I got Pittsburgh in third. And second, I got Cincinnati. Very noisy offseason. I don't believe in the Bengals. People forget that they had Trey Henderson last year. He accounted for 48% of their sacks last year, and their defense was still bad. I don't think people know about Shamar Stewart. He didn't really accomplish much in college. They got him in the first round. They had this whole big contract fiasco, but he only had 4.5 sacks in college last year. So he's really not going to change that. What I do like about the Bengals, though, to avoid having slow starts to the season, they started playing their offense more in the preseason, which is good to avoid having a slow start to the season. So that's good for them, but they'll still come in second. Baltimore, first place. The Baltimore is a regular season team. In the regular season, I mean, we all know how good Lamar is in the regular season. The only question is, can he beat Mahomes in the playoffs? Same with Josh Allen. Lamar goes from Josh Allen in the regular season to Tyler Huntley. The stats are just so despairingly I don't know. It's just amazing how the big gap where he goes from 6th in EPA to 24th to EPA in the playoffs. But, so I expect Baltimore to have a good regular season. It's just all about if they can beat Kansas City and get to the Super Bowl.
What's EPA? The only EPA I know is East Palo Alto.
Expected points added. It's like when you're quarterbacking on a drive, you're supposed to get points on drives based on, the play calls, the passes, whatever. And he just doesn't do it consistently enough in the playoffs. But in the regular season, he kills it, man. And I expect no different this year. Baltimore should be the cream of the crop in that division.
All right. So then sliding to the AFC South, you got Tennessee Titans, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, and Houston Texans.
Pass.
Right.
Go ahead, Jason, you first.
All right. AFC South, man. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to take Indianapolis, man. They have a really good roster. That's why I don't.
Are you starting at the top this time?
No, I'm starting at the bottom. Last place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going Indianapolis. Yeah.
Dang.
I was like, damn. Okay. You always make. You always make a big pick, and Indianapolis Colts would definitely be a big swing.
No, this ain't it.
Okay.
This ain't it. Yeah.
You rank it is right.
Yeah, Indianapolis is last place, man. They have a good roster, but they got Daniel Jones at quarterback. NFL, you want to have the quarterback and then get the roster right. You don't want to have the roster right and then not have a quarterback. It's just bad. So that's just enough. I'm not talking about Indianapolis. Daniel Jones, their quarterback. They got them in last place. Tennessee, I got them in third place. I am really, really rooting for Cam Ward. More importantly, I'm really rooting to never having to watch Will Levis play quarterback again in the NFL. He's out with a shoulder. He's out for the season for shoulder surgery.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah. The Titans could have won a lot of games last year, man, but Will Levis blew the games. I actually watched games. I had points on these games, and then I just saw Will Levis just implode so much. So I'm happy they got Cam Ward. The offense struggled a little bit in camp, but I mean, that's to be expected. They need more wide receiver help, but I think Tennessee should be a better watchable team this year. So I got them coming in third place. In second place, I got the Houston Texans. They fired their offensive line coach. They fired their offensive coordinator. I don't know how long it's going to take to get that offense up and running when you have a new coordinator and a new offensive line coach. Houston's defense is going to be very good. They have the lowest odds to win the division, only plus 110, which is actually kind of surprising. And the Colts actually averaged more points last year per game than the Texans. So I got Houston in second, basically because I don't know what I'm getting from the offense. Defense can't carry you for an entire season. Eventually they get tired and you give up more points as the season goes on, which means in first place, I have Jacksonville, a team who I do not love, but I'm picking them this year. they look.
It was a
They have
resounding sales pitch right here.
Yeah.
Bro, I know, right? They have a new.
Well, that's why I
offensive
said at the beginning, pass.
Liam Cohen, the new coach who was offense coordinator in Tampa Bay when he kind of resurrected Baker Mayfield's career, I believe he can help Trevor Lawrence. I don't think he's going to reach the plateau that people thought Trevor Lawrence would make, but I think they're going to be a better team and will end up with a game better record than Jacksonville and win the division. Their schedule is tough early, but it eases up late, and I think that's what's going to propel them to win the division by one game. So I got Jacksonville winning the division.
We're mostly the same here. On the bottom, I got the Colts. I just don't understand what the heck they're doing. You mentioned that they were averaged more points last year. They scored all those points with Anthony Richardson, who they basically given up on. And I don't think that they should have. I also don't think that Chicago, you were talking earlier about that, should be giving up on Caleb Williams. When you decide to draft these super young players, you have to understand that they're not going to come. They're 2 years max removed from high school, or 3 years max removed from high school in these instances, and you're expecting them to perform like 5-year veterans. I think that was a mistake. And they did it when they had nothing to gain. The Indianapolis Colts, not even the Indianapolis Colts believe that they're going to win this division. So why in the world would you give up on the kid who's younger than most of the other rookies who got drafted this year? Doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, they're at the bottom. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be our next Saquon Barkley. He's going to end up getting traded to someplace where he can actually be, where he can actually be valuable, and we'll be reminded of just how great he has been. That's happened with Derrick Henry. That's happened with Saquon Barkley and others. Anyways, right after that, I got the same thing as you, the Tennessee Titans. I don't know what the heck they're doing with this team. If I could name 10 players on this team, I'd be amazed, both offense and defense. They've got, I think, 3 running backs that are competing for first carries on that team. Same with quarterback situations. If you've got 2, you've got none. When you've got 3 running backs, it's just too many carries for any one of them to get going. I don't know what the Tennessee Titans are doing, therefore they can't possibly be a contender there. Next, though, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like the team generally. I just don't think they're very good. I don't think there's any one position where they're excellent. And so I don't see how that equates to them being a top team in a division. I don't hate them. I don't like them. I just think that they exist. This whole division is a lot like that. I'm going to go to Houston Texans. The Houston Texans, I'm going to put in first place because someone had to be. And I really do think CJ Stroud is good when he's healthy and upright. I really do think Stephon Diggs, although a prima donna, is very good when healthy.
For the Patriots.
He's gone. I'm sorry. That's right.
Yep.
But it's Jaden
Nico
Diggins, and they got Nico Collins.
Yep.
I think both of those folks are very good when healthy. And their running back situation is kind of a mess. Like Dameon Pierce just 2 years ago was a stud. Last year he was nothing. Now they've got 3. They've got Mixon, who's hurt. They got Chubb. They got Dameon Pierce. They got a lot going on. The only consolation is that all 3 of those running backs, in my opinion, are very good. So it doesn't matter really who's going to play. They're going to get some productivity out of those guys. As a result, they win the AFC South with maybe like 10 wins.
Okay. There it is. All right. There you go. And then the last one, I'll obviously have something to say about this one, the AFC West.
I think, Glenn, you should start this one because this is your division. You should start.
Broncos, the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Chargers. All right, so starting at the bottom, it's already laid out for me, the Los Angeles Chargers. I think Harbaugh's great.
Hate him as a staff, record label. Yeah, exactly. You down with the Chargers?
These guys are all good, but someone's got to become last. It's not going to be us because we on the rise, and I'll get to that in a second. But you win games, you play a harder schedule, and they won games. And they should. They deserve to win those games. They play a harder schedule now. Herbert, we saw, was limited. You feel me? As soon as it got to the playoffs, we played okay in the season. It's cool. He's solid. But it was running the ball and playing defense. That works for so long. the division is too tough, right? It's there in the bottom. Then you got the Denver Broncos. And these Broncos, bro, everybody loves Bo Nix. He didn't beat nobody that had any kind of real wins. You look at the season, they said like the quarterbacks he beat, and that's including us, was Minshew and all these other guys. And their defense was solid. A lot of injuries there. We'll see what they do, but Peyton and their man, wow. Next up, you got the Las Vegas Raiders. No team has improved more with the coach, quarterback to quarterback, running game, defense. You know, we got some young guys that are improving, but like I said, some OGs that are out there too. I think will be solid. Can win some of these games in our division. Our schedule isn't too bad. Then obviously Chiefs win it. I think they've won 9 in a row. No surprise if they win. It'd be great to beat them in at the game I'm at. That would be amazing. We'll see. You know what I mean? The Chiefs are obviously the Chiefs. Like whatever you could say, it's still Mahomes. It's still Andy Reid. Andy Reid's Hall of Fame now if he wanted to, damn near. So 100%. That's how I got it. We're gonna see how it shakes. So yeah, you guys run it down.
Hey, you go. You first.
All right, I have a tie on the bottom end of this division between the Broncos and the Las Vegas Raiders. This is not to say that either one of them are going to suck, because I actually think the reason why there's a tie is that both of them are actually getting better. The reason why I can't definitively say that the Raiders are going to beat out the Broncos is that they've got a lot of new things going on. It's a whole new scheme. It's a whole new situation. They've got, their running back, who I think is going to be very good, is going to be new to this environment and the scheme. But I still think they're going to get close, like 8 wins, maybe 9, but 8, 9, 9 and 8. But I think that's kind of where they're going to live. I don't think either of these two teams make the playoffs. On the Broncos side, I do think Bo Nix is good, but I don't think he's there, and I don't think he's the second coming. And I think it's a lot to ask for him to go and just be amazing in his second season. I mean, when Mims is kind of your second wide receiver behind Cortland, is it Cortland Sutton? No, he's not there anymore.
Sutton's there.
Oh, Sutton, yeah.
Cortland Sutton. Yeah, they just signed him to a big deal.
That's Jerry Jeudy who's gone. Sorry. And then, RJ Harvey, there's a lot of expectations put on him, Ashton Jeanty as well. So I think that this is a very, very strong division from bottom to top in the AFC. I think that the Raiders and the Broncos are going to be on the bottom half of this, but not because they're bad. I think there's going to be I honestly think that they can win games like going into Kansas City, when you have a puncher's chance of winning a game. They can knock a team out in those types of situations. Next, I got the Chargers. So they've had a year to coalesce as to what they're trying to do with Harbaugh. I think Herbert's very good, but I think he's also going to be about the same. I think Omarion Hampton is going to get the best opportunity. Because Harbaugh loves to run, and he's going to get the rock. I think the rookie of the year is going to either be RJ Harvey or Omarion Hampton. And I definitely think it's going to be one of the two guys who come from this division.
Go ahead.
Maybe you just really hate the Chargers in every way, shape, and form.
That's also true. But false statement.
Yeah. But I like the fact that they brought back Keenan Allen, and I like Lad McConkey. I think that they've got talent in the right places to give Harbaugh the type of team that he wants to go battle with. I don't think that this makes them world beaters. I think they're maybe a 10-win team as opposed to a 9 or an 8-win team. So I'm not trying to say that they're demonstrably better than the Broncos or the Raiders. Like I just said, I think this is going to be a very, very strong division from bottom to top, from top to bottom. And then I got KC winning it. I don't know how. I mean, they always suck at the beginning of the season. You always wonder if this is the year where they fall off. Then Mahomes pulls some weird throw where he throws backwards, not looking, while upside down, hanging from by his toe. And then all of a sudden they're in the playoffs, and we're talking about them as being so much better than everyone else. I do not think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win a Super Bowl. I called that out in this show last year. I said under no circumstances is KC winning it. Yeah,
They got to the game. They got to the game.
They can get as close as they want. They didn't win it then. They're not winning it this time. I will go a step further. I do not believe they even play in the Super Bowl this year. And if they do, there's going to be 5 million conspiracies because of the whole Taylor Swift now getting engaged. And they're going to want Taylor Swift singing at the Super Bowl. They're not good enough to be in the Super Bowl this year, I don't think. I also think this is going to be. I don't think this is going to be Kelsey's last year. I think that next year might be his last year, but this year is not because of all the hype. But anyways, Kansas City's on top, but I think they're maybe a 12-win team, maybe 12-5, something like that. Jason, take it away.
Yeah, and let's keep them going too. So we're like halfway.
All right. So in last place, I have the Raiders. They were unwatchable last year under Antonio Pierce. So Pete Carroll is definitely an upgrade. But people forget Pete Carroll did not become Pete Carroll in the NFL until he got Russell Wilson. The Legion of Boom was already there, and they weren't even breaking 500. But I like the Raiders front office that they put together with GM Spytech. They have a good defensive staff. But I still have them in last place though, because the Raiders have the most question marks of any team in the division. You got Geno Smith. I don't get the whole Geno is good crowd. He's average at best, and that's probably stretching it. But for the Raiders to win 9 games, he's going to have to carry the team, which he never done in NFL or college. So I don't really see that happening. Ashton Genty, I'm interested to watch him play, but he's not playing against Utah State and New Mexico. He has 6 games against teams in his own division that have fielded top 10 defenses last year. So we'll see how good he can be. He can't run over linebackers like he did in college. He tried that in the 49ers
Ran over Lenore though. Carry on.
He can't run over linebackers. Lenore is a corner. He can't run over linebackers in college. He ended up in the blue tent when he tried to do that against the 49ers with a neck stinger. Can't do that. The Raiders offensive line, they didn't grade out well last year. It's not known that they can open up holes for Genty, so we'll see. Last year, I said repeatedly, they only have one talented defensive player, that's Max Crosby. This was proven a week ago when Pete Carroll got rid of 8 starters from last year's team because the defense just wasn't good. So good for them for that. But the biggest question mark,
you just talking that,
the biggest question mark that no one is talking about with the Raiders is Chip Kelly. This ain't Ohio State. His last 3 years in NFL were not good. The 49ers had the worst offense in their team's history when he was the coach.
Who was the quarterback?
And then the last 2 years with the Eagles, their offenses weren't good.
Go to the next team, bro.
So
it's a lot of time at the bottom.
We'll see what happens. In third place, I got the Chargers. I see the Chargers being average this year. They didn't do enough on offense.
They were going to the Super Bowl just 2 years ago.
Rashawn Slater
just a week ago.
Rashawn Slater got a devastating knee injury in the preseason. They had the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL last year, but if you look at the advanced defensive metrics, they were towards the middle of the league, so they weren't as good as people think. They also got offensive lineman Mekhi Becton from Philadelphia. He's banged up. The wide receivers, they just didn't do enough. They got catching issues as well. I like McConkey, but he's not enough to get them through in that division. Good. So the Chargers, I got them in third place. And Denver, I got Denver in second place. Bo Nix had some numbers better than Jaden Daniels, but Bo Nix threw a lot of short, safe passes, whereas Jaden Daniels actually had to have a good game and make plays or his team would not win. We'll see how good Denver is this year. They play some real teams this year. I think the media likes Sean Payton, so the hype on Bo Nix is kind of overboard. They were 1-6 last year in 1-score games, and that's because Bo Nix was their quarterback. They had a weakness last year at linebacker. They got Drake Greenlaw for the 49ers, so that should help. But I'm really interested to watch RJ Harvey, who I drafted in fantasy. I think he's going to have that Alvin Kamara type of role. And for Denver to win, I think RJ Harvey has to be the main person on that team, not Bo Nix. And then lastly, I got Kansas City winning the division. It's going to be 10 straight division titles. People, especially fantasy people, talk about how Mahomes' stats aren't what they are compared to his peers, but this ain't fantasy football. All I know is when points need to be scored on a crucial drive in critical moments of the games, he comes through, and he does it consistently with an ever-changing group of receivers. So, I mean, I got Kansas City just winning again. Same old every year.
All right. To the NFC. I'm not actually salty. This is just a show, so please don't think I actually.
What happened?
No one who watches this or hears this, don't think I'm actually salty about.
Oh, that's hella funny.
Coach prediction.
Where are we going next?
NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, Philadelphia Eagles, and Washington Commanders.
Okay. So the Giants are coming in last place. I'm not saying anything else about that. In third place, I'm just skeptical. You always got these coaches that shouldn't be an NFL head coach, like Antonio Pierce, like like Eberflus, like this guy from Dallas, Brian Schottenheimer. This guy wasn't even supposed to be a coordinator. I don't know how the hell he ended up being an NFL coach. But anyway, this has disaster written all over it. Dak, they got George Pickens, and George Pickens does not listen to coaches. He wouldn't even listen to Mike Tomlin. I don't see how he's going to respect and listen to this guy. But and also Dak kind of needs George Pickens because Dak can't move anymore like he used to. But whether they have Micah Parsons or not, I still have them in third place. It's just not really a good team. In second place, I got Washington. I don't think Washington is going to look as good as they did last year. They're going to have a harder schedule. They had really a noisy offseason with the whole McLaren situation. Not sure why they did not want to get that guy signed. He's very good for that team. Washington didn't beat any real teams last year. They played Philadelphia when Kenny Pickett was the quarterback for 3.5 quarters, and they beat Detroit in the playoffs when their defense had cluster injuries. And so it'll be interesting to see how they do against some healthy, good teams this year. And then you got the Cliff Kingsbury effect as offense coordinator. He always looks good that first year, and then every year after that, the offense doesn't look as great as it usually does, as it did that first year. So we'll see how it is. But Jaden Daniels had the best rookie year I've probably ever seen as a quarterback, so I'm interested in watching him again. And in first place, no surprise, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. I wouldn't bet on them to win the Super Bowl this year. They lost a lot of starters from last year's team. They lost, I think, 8 players from their defense, 5 starters total from their defense. But they still got Saquon Barkley, but I've all said he's not going to have over 1,300 yards rushing this year. He can't keep up that pace. He's never had to actually keep up that pace as far as carries and yards and everything. So I expect him to be a little banged up this year. But despite that, Philly's still going to win the division, make the playoffs, and then make a run. They'll be a tough out. And if Saquon can get healthy at the end of the year, it'll really help them out as far as their playoff run. But that's how I got this division shaken out.
I got the exact same order, so I'm going to spend less time on this. But so it's Giants at the bottom. The only thing I'm interested in seeing is whether Cam Scatteraboo can actually become a running back in the pros. Cowboys at the bottom. I think there's buyer's remorse for Cam on Dak Prescott. I don't care how many great players he's got. It's just not enough to make Dak look good. Washington Commanders, I really like this team. I like Jacory. He was my big sleeper in fantasy drafts. But I think as a running back, the team is so invested in him that Brian Robinson, who was very good, got traded to the 49ers so that to make room for him. So I'll be really interested in watching him. And obviously, Jaden Daniels has been excellent. And then at the top, Philadelphia Eagles. I think they're going to fall off. I think there's going to be a pretty significant regression. They're not going to be the world beaters, but they're still going to be the best team in this division. Again, Jason mentioned that there's a lot of losses on both the offensive and defensive side. And I don't think that they were as good as they seemed. Obviously, they won a Super Bowl. I think everything just kind of lined up perfectly for them to win games. Styles make fights, and when they got into the playoffs, they kind of kept on getting lined up against teams that they knew how to beat. They did not have to go against teams that were going to be tougher for them to beat. That rode that all the way up to the through the playoffs and into the Super Bowl. And so I think there's a regression there. I don't think that they're the team that represents the NFC in the Super Bowl this year. But yeah, they're the best team in the NFC East.
All right. So to the NFC North, Brian, Division 2 goes Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, feel free to go a little long on your team if you want to. I'd like to hear what you got to say.
All right. Yeah. So first of all, I couldn't find a website or anybody. Every time they do a write-up on the Vikings, they talk about the talent and how good they are and how great an offseason is. And then when it comes to predicting them, I feel like they always end up in the bottom of these people's lists. It's like talking out of both sides of their mouths. So the first thing that I'm going to say is Bears are at the bottom. The Bears are at the bottom because of some of the things that Jason actually mentioned earlier. They don't know what they're doing at quarterback. The fact that they have a second-year quarterback that they spend a bunch of draft capital to get in Caleb Williams and don't seem to be really excited about him is a really, really big problem in the NFL. They've got some, DJ Moore is a good very good wide receiver, but not great in my opinion. They just don't have enough of anything to be a top team in what I think is the hardest division in football this year. So I got the Bears at the bottom. That doesn't mean I don't think that they can't get 7 or 8 wins. It just means they're at the bottom. Next up, I'm going to say there's going to be a tie between the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. So, at 9 or 10 wins. The problem I had, the reason why I say this, that's obviously regression. The Vikings had a 14-3 record last year. They didn't lose. They only lost to 2 teams all season, right? Rams twice and the Lions twice. They lost the division and went from being the 1 seed to the 6th seed by losing on the last day, which they then made a rule change to adjust. But I do think there's a regression, but that's just because I think the Vikings are going to be spending this season figuring things out. I think they're actually going to be a much better team late in the season than they are early in the season. And ultimately, I think that the Green Bay Packers are going to look like world beaters early. The Vikings are going to catch up to them at the end of the season. I think they're going to be right there. I think I would, if I need to pick one to be the 2 and one to be the 3, I'll take the Vikings as a 2 and the Green Bay Packers to be the 3, because I believe the Minnesota Vikings, who play the Packers late in the season, will be able to beat them. Some things about the Minnesota Vikings, independent of that. I think it's important to remember that they just got Thielen back. Thielen is not going to be the difference in the playoffs. But when you lose Addison, whom they're going to lose for the first 3 games of the season, and you replace him with somebody who led Carolina in receptions and has just got some of the surest hands and is beyond ecstatic to be there for those 3 or 4 games, I think they found a very suitable replacement. Jalen Naylor is also very good. And so I don't think that they fall off that much. JJ McCarthy, I don't know what to think about him at this point in time. The coaches love him, but the coaches also love the backup who came from University of Minnesota and have been talking him up as much as they've been talking about JJ McCarthy. All the right things are in place for JJ McCarthy to be successful. The coaches like him. Coaches have spent time with him. Coaches have put a team around him with tons and tons of talent, with Hawkinson, with Aaron Jones, with Jordan Mason, with excellent wide receivers, and one of the best offensive lines to be created this season, in this offseason. And they have one of the top defenses again when it comes to scoring. There's a lot of things to like, but unless JJ McCarthy delivers, you can't go much further than 2nd/3rd place, in my opinion. I'm really excited to see what this team does. I'm really interested. I think if they coalesce and play well and get into the playoffs, that they could actually be a very scary team to play come playoff time. But, we don't know until we know. First place, Detroit Lions. I think there's a regression there. They were 14-3. I don't think they get to 14 wins this year. Maybe 12, maybe 11. But, they also have, I think, one of the hardest strength of schedules in football this year, not just the North. I think they were rated as having the hardest strength of schedule in football this year. I think there's a little bit of a regression as a result of that. Also, they were on a hype high, and it just kind of worked for them. Still the best team in what I think is the best division, with the hardest division to win in. But I think they're 1, but there's a regression there as well. Vikings a regression. Bears get a little bit better. Packers get a little bit better. And ultimately, this is the best division in football. Jason?
Definitely the best division in football. 40 wins combined last year for Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay. I did not know that. No playoff wins. Okay, so for last, I don't really have a last place. I got 2 teams tied at the bottom for the same record. One is the Chicago Bears. For Ben Johnson to be successful, Caleb Williams just has to be good. Period. He has to stay on him. He has to be hard on him, because Caleb has never had anybody be hard on him pretty much in his life. He played for Lincoln Riley in college, and he's not hard on players. I do expect the Bears to look better. Well, how can you not, moving on from their last coach? But I just think that the Bears still have work to be done before they reach the top level of division. I like that Ben Johnson, after the Chiefs preseason game, he said the first couple series drives against the Kansas City Chiefs, he said their offensive execution was a complete embarrassment. And that's good because nobody's ever called out Caleb or anybody else on that team for years on how bad they play. So hopefully they'll play better. But I still got them being tied for last place with the Minnesota Vikings. And the reason why is all because of JJ McCarthy. I mean, this season is all about building his confidence. This team is loaded. And to be honest with you, this isn't 1997 anymore, where you can give a quarterback 3 and 4 years anymore. That day is done. If JJ McCarthy can't win with this team, and this team is loaded the way it is, with this roster, it's probably the best roster in the NFL, if not the top 3. Then he doesn't need to be playing on an NFL team. People talk about Brock Purdy and what he had. He never had Brock Purdy never had an offensive line this good. Never played with a receiver like Justin Jefferson. So I don't want to hear about weapons and all that nonsense. He has.
He'll be better than Brock Purdy.
Huh?
He'll be better than Brock Purdy.
Okay. Well, you should put up all the stats. He should lead in all the metrics that Brock Purdy laid in with this team. So I got Minnesota and Chicago tied. In second place, I got Detroit. New offense coordinator, new defense coordinator, and everybody thinks it's going to be the same Lions team because Matt Campbell is the head coach. I don't believe that because he doesn't call any plays. I think the drop-off is going to be more on the offensive end. Ben Johnson knew how to manage Jared Goff. Jared Goff, to be successful, you have to scheme guys open for him, and you have to tell him where to throw the ball. That's why he worked with McVay. They also got a tough schedule outside of the division and the offensive line without their center and that other guy, Kevin Zeitler, who's gone. I don't think it's going to be the same offense, so I got them coming in second. But I think because of most of the continuity, they'll be better than Chicago and Minnesota. We're still trying to figure things out. In first place, I got Green Bay, mainly because they're the most consistent in this division as far as turnover and other things. The Packers' schedule is very workable. Their secondary can definitely be abused, and their pass rush is very inconsistent. But I never take Green Bay too seriously in the playoffs because they don't have any elite players. I was picking Green Bay to win this division even before they got Michael Parsons. Last year for the GM, last year for LaFleur, they might not be back the following season if they don't get it done this year because they got a new team president. So it'll be interesting how the pressure affects them. But I got Green Bay being the most consistent, therefore coming in first in this division.
Wait, before you go on, did you think that the Green Bay Packers would be the best team in the division before the Parsons trade?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Okay.
You already had it like this. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, already had it.
All right, so hopefully 10 minutes and we got 2 divisions, so let's see it happen. NFC South, Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Carolina Panthers.
Was it on me?
Yep.
Okay, so the last place I got New Orleans. The roster sucks and they're not worth watching. In third place, I got the Carolina Panthers. They gave up more points than any team in NFL history. They also gave up the most yards per game last season. As much as I root for Bryce Young, I don't think his ceiling is very high. And their first round pick is either a boom or bust type of player, but most executives thinks he's a bust. I got them in third. Second place, I got the Falcons. I'm totally out on the Falcons. I don't think Raheem Morris is a good coach. And their owner actually put himself in their team's Hall of Fame, which is actually kind of funny. He did that a few weeks ago. Atlanta last year was supposed to cruise to a division title, but they didn't even make the playoffs, and they still won't give up on Kyle Pitts. I don't know why he's still on that team. But I can't root for Atlanta. Their culture's not good. They need good leadership. They got a couple pass rushers because they were second to last in sacks last year, but not sure if that'll help or not. And in first place, I got Tampa Bay. They're a steady, well-run franchise with a aging roster, but they're the most consistent team in the division. So I got them coming in first.
Okay. I'll make this easy. Yes, what he said. For almost all the same reasons. Atlanta's experiment is just mind-boggling. It still hasn't worked. They still have Kirk Cousins on the team. Whoever the unlucky quarterback who gets injured first gets to be the recipient of the Kirk Cousins free plan, because I'm sure they're going to end up having to pay most of his contract when they send him someplace, and I do feel like he'll get sent someplace relatively as soon as somebody needs a quarterback. We can move forward.
All right, let's stay with the last one, the NFC West. Cool. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, Brian, you go ahead. You start NFC West. Go ahead.
This is a tough one, man. Hold on, I got to look at my notes real quick because I had. Yeah, okay, I remember it now. So I got Arizona Cardinals at the bottom. I actually don't hate this team, but I just feel like they're not there yet. I feel like they're going to be probably tied with Seattle, but if I had to give one or 3A and 3B, I would give Arizona 3B and Seattle 3A. Going up to Seattle, I have them probably tied with Arizona, but just a little bit ahead. That's actually because I do like Sam Darnold. I saw what he did. I mean, he led a team to 14 wins last year. That's nothing to frown about. Yes, they had a lot of other things going on and JJ and all this other stuff. Yes, they've lost DK Metcalf. You know, I understand the reservations behind this, but I think Seattle will do well. Rooting for my cousin. I hope he also does well. Let's move it forward. I got the Rams in third. I really like this team. I really like what the Rams do. I think as an organization, I've said this many times on our podcast before, they've got some black magic voodoo type stuff that goes on back there when it comes to managing the salary cap, because every single time we think that they should have absolutely no money, then they sign somebody for $1 bajillion in some weird deal or find a way to get some guy who was out of in retirement. There was already jokes and comments about them being able to bring what's his name back to come back and play on the team if they got the other player. I mean, they just seem to figure out ways to make things happen that don't make sense. I think Puka Nacua is incredible. I think that Kyron Williams is very good. And I think Matthew Stafford knows how to run a team and operate efficiently. All of that's good enough to get to second place. And first, I have the 49ers. I do not particularly care for the team. I certainly don't care for the quarterback, but I cannot deny that when healthy, they have as much talent as almost any team in this league. They, they seem to find people every single, especially at wide receiver. You know, they move one person on. Ricky Pearsall's now the guy. You know, Ike's hurt. That's okay. Ricky Pearsall's the guy. You know, Jordan Mason was great. That's okay. He's out. McCaffrey's healthy again. As a fantasy guy who plays a lot of fantasy football, it is important to remember that when McCaffrey starts a season healthy, he is almost always, actually always been running back number 1 or running back number 2 in fantasy football. He is healthy this year. They've done everything they can to keep the man healthy this year. There's no reason to believe that streak will end, and a healthy McCaffrey playing well is a huge boost to any team and enough to get the division, in my opinion, here. I know Jason's got a lot more to say, so I'm going to give him the mic.
And don't feel rushed, bro.
All right. So in last place, I got Seattle. Lots of optimism. Not sure when Sam Darnold is the quarterback, but he goes from an offensive coach to a defensive coach. So I really don't see that going all too well. Kevin O'Connell, good coach in my opinion. He managed them very well, but Justin Jefferson does not play for the Seattle Seahawks. Plays for Minnesota. Seattle is only
his lowest touchdowns last year, though.
Well, yeah. And Seattle is only favored once in their first 6 games of the season. So I got Seattle coming in last place. That Darnold experiment is not going to be good. I got Arizona coming in third. This team, I like to call them the Baltimore Ravens of the NFC. They start strong and they fade. But the Ravens fade in the playoffs. Arizona does it the second half of the season. They didn't do enough offensively, in my opinion, to improve the team. They're a trendy pick to win the division. Don't know why. I can never pick a team quarterbacked by Kyle Murray to win the division. I think this will be his last year with Arizona. Even with Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. last year, they finished third with a losing record. Kyler came out and said he plans on running more this season, which means he's going to get hurt and miss games. So I don't think that's going to be good. And Marvin Harrison last year, I looked it up. He was held to 50 yards receiving 10 times last year, which is not good. But I'm sure they'll force feed him the ball this year. Defense should be good, but I don't think offensively they're good enough. In second place, the only reason I have this team in second place, the Rams, is because of Stafford's back. I never believed Sean McVay and the Rams when it comes to injuries. I didn't believe it when they kept saying Todd Gurley was okay, and Todd Gurley was not okay. Stafford has back issues, and there's no timetables when it comes to a back. You can say day to day or week to week. Your back heals when it heals. And when I think of back issues, I remember Steve Kerr couldn't coach basketball games because of his back. He had to stay home. Rams are discussed as if they're the Chiefs or the Eagles, but people don't understand they've only won 10 games over the past 2 years. And when their quarterback is week to week, I know he got an epidural. He's been, he wasn't practicing. I know the left tackle had some blood clot issues. when you're an old quarterback like Stafford, you need a healthy O-line, and you need to be healthy as well. So the only reason I got the Rams in second place because of Stafford, I just don't trust it. But this is the real kicker why I have him is because Sean McVay, out of the blue, just said when he was talking that Jimmy G is the best backup quarterback in NFL. The man wasn't asked a question. Why is he throwing out that Jimmy G is the best backup in the NFL? It's because he knows he's going to have to play
Have to
him.
use him.
Yeah, and if you got to play him, you ain't winning 10 games with Jimmy G as your quarterback. So that's the only reason I got the Rams in second.
How many games did the 49ers win with Jimmy G as the quarterback?
That was years ago.
Yeah.
This is different Jimmy G.
No, it's the same Jimmy G. He wasn't good then. He ain't good now. Mr. Truck Driver.
So in first place, I had him in second. Now I got to move him to first because of Stafford injury. I got the 49ers, but the injuries, I mean, they scare me. Somebody's always going down with an injury. I don't know what it is. The 1 year, a couple of years ago, they were all healthy. They went to Super Bowl. I don't think this is a Super Bowl team, but I would like them to be healthy just to see what we have this year. Defense is young. It's going to be some growing pains in that game. That first game against Seattle, which we'll talk about later, is not going to be an easy one. Jawan Jennings just got back to practice. He's a wide receiver. I think a sleeper pick this year is going to be Ricky Pearsall. He has hands, and if he can get open, he's going to see the ball a lot. I've talked about it before. I don't like our kicking situation. I hate that we still have that kicker on our team. I think we had Greg Joseph for a minute in camp, Brian. I think he used to play for the Vikings.
Yeah,
and they had to get rid of him because we had so many injuries that we
he was a
needed
head
bodies
case,
to
but he
practice.
can kick it far.
Yeah. But we had so many injuries. We needed bodies. So we had to let him go, and we got this kicker, man, and I just can't stand him. But anyway, I got the 49ers coming in first place. I think they'll go at least 10-7 this year. So we'll see what happens.
All right, man. That's about it now.
If real quickly, if I hold you, I won't hold you to it.
Yep.
Who do you have winning the Super Bowl this year?
I don't know. I haven't even thought about that. I do know who I got going to playoffs. You want to run down your playoff teams real quick?
I think we should do that next time. We got plenty of time before it happens.
Okay.
I was just asking real quick. I know we're running a little bit long. I was just wondering if you had a team that you're like, I think this is their year.
No, I think it's wide open, Brian. I really do. I think
it's wide open too.
Baltimore, Kansas City. I think even Philly still might have a chance to go back to it. Seriously.
Yeah. Philly and KC, I don't think have a chance. Detroit may, Green Bay, even the Vikings. Baltimore is my dark horse pick for the Super Bowl this year, though.
Well, they can't be dark horse if they're leading the odds, man. They can't be dark horse.
Why? Would you pick them?
No, I didn't pick them. Hell no.
There you go. Anyways, we'll see what happens.
Man, that's it, bro. So we'll do our other segments, minutes win and all that. We just thank you all for listening. Trying to be mindful of the time. September 3rd, 2025, Sports Counterpoints. This is our 2025 season preview show. Thanks for checking us out, and we'll catch y'all soon. Peace. Yee.